Are older RVs a good deal or are they a money pit? I've got receipts here to prove it, so stay tuned and find out. Hi everybody, it's Deb with Deb's RV Services, and today is an episode of Deb's Corner. This is where I get a little more personal with you and share about my RV life. And today I want to talk about the expenses related to having an older motorhome. For those of you that aren't aware, I have a 2000 Lazy Days. It is a Class C motorhome, 26.5 feet long, and it's considered a rear bath model. I absolutely love it. I got this in 2021 while I was in inspection school. I paid $25,000 for this RV. And it was, when it came to me, it was in tip-top shape. The prior owners took very good care of it. They had the receipts to show and prove it. I had updated tires. I had updated sealant on the roof. Everything was cared for. All the maintenance was done. So I knew that I was in good shape, and paying $25,000 for an older motorhome that I would have free and clear was a winning ticket for me because I didn't want to have a monthly payment. My goals were to get on the road as a full-timer, but not have to worry about paying a mortgage on my RV. So I want to break down with you the costs since I've owned this older motorhome so that you can kind of gauge roughly what it might cost you if you were to get something a little bit older and the expenses associated with that. So let's get started. So the startup cost for a motorhome or any RV is always going to be related to the insurance startup. You're going to have registration that you have to worry about. And if you're going to tow a vehicle, you're going to have to set that up. Now, an older motorhome, you save on insurance. And an older motorhome, you save on registration. So if I were to have purchased a brand new one, I don't even know what the registration would have cost, but I have seen other people pay almost $1,000 to register. It depends on the state that you live in, how much all those things cost. But an older motorhome in general is going to be less costly at the initial startup for your registration and all those things associated with that and insurance. So you also, with the towing stuff, I bought used and you can save on that. And so all those different costs, they are going to be a little bit of a chunk. But I really want to get into the cost of repairs because that's super important because you want to keep your RV maintained throughout your ownership of it so that things are less likely to break. So in 2021, I bought this motorhome, but I didn't have any costs associated with it except the startup costs for my insurance and registration. In 2022, my costs were a valve stem, so it was roughly around $300. So I really didn't have anything but that, and then an oil change that was probably about $100. So let's say $400 for 2022. It was really a low maintenance year. Like I said, everything had been updated in the motorhome, so I didn't really have anything I had to take care of except maybe some sealant issues. So you're always going to check your sealant, and if you can't do it yourself, there will be costs associated with hiring a technician to come out. You also want to go through maintaining other things. Like I maintain my own motorhome, so I don't have the costs associated with that. But things like cleaning out your furnace and maintaining that once a year where you're blowing out all the debris and dust and hair and whatever else, if you have an animal, you're going to get particles in there from the dog hair. And that keeps your furnace running. You're going to want to do the same thing with your water heater. You want to maintain all that, and you want to look at your sealant. So I took care of all that myself, and I did do some sealant work in 2022, but I handled all that myself. So there was no associated costs except maybe any parts, sealant or whatever that I purchased. But if you can't do these things yourself, you will have some costs associated with hiring a technician. And technician rates vary. So you could be paying $150 an hour up to $200 an hour. And then you're going to have a travel fee if they come to you. If you take it to a dealership, their costs are usually higher, but you leave it with them and who knows how long it'll take for them to get it done. But you will have those regular maintenance costs unless you get trained and maybe go take some classes, learn on YouTube University how to do a lot of things yourself. You're going to save yourself a lot of money that way. So in 2023 is when I noticed that a lot of my costs started going up. I had a generator issue that started with me in 2023, but didn't get resolved until 2024. So my generator stopped working periodically. It wouldn't stay running. It would just die out. I didn't know what was wrong, so I tried to fix it myself. I don't have the training in generators, but I asked a few tech friends and tried to tried to troubleshoot it. I wasn't able to fix it, so I ultimately needed to get that repaired. So there was a cost associated with that. I had to take it in, and then I ultimately got it diagnosed in that year, but I didn't get it repaired until the following year. The other thing that I did in 2023 was I had all my steering components looked at, and I had it serviced by a mechanic that handled trucks and RVs. And I had all that looked at, and my brakes and everything, and I needed a lot of stuff replaced and repaired. So my cost associated with having all that repaired was $3,800. So, and that also included an oil change for my RV. So you always want to make sure you get your oil changes. And if you have a generator, you have to service both. So every year I'm getting my generator oil changed and I'm getting my motorhome oil changed. I thought $3,800 was a significant amount, but that is all I repaired in 2023. So then 2024 came, and I thought maybe it would be an easier year for me, but not so much. So I had my generator repaired in 2024 and my oil change done at the same time. So that cost me about $650. They ended up, there was a hole in the fuel line, so they had to drop the tank. So there was a lot of labor hours there. So I got that repaired. Then I had, like during the summer months, my air conditioner went out in my chassis, and this was during like over 100-degree temperatures in Arizona. I was not happy about that, and I found a local place. So basically what you do is you call around, you find somebody that will work on your motorhome chassis. So usually I look at truck repair service places, and then I ask them if they do RV repair. So I found a place that worked on it for me, and that ended up costing me over $1,000. So got that done, and my window broke on my driver's side, and that cost me about $300 to have replaced. So I got that repaired. Then my generator broke again, and this time it was the starter. So when the starter went out, it was about $470 to replace. And I was not in the same location as I was with the other generator service repair person. So I had to find somebody else that serviced generators, and they did a good job. They replaced the starter, and all that was fine. Later on in the year, I needed my toilet replaced, and that was something that I had needed done for over a year. I'd been waiting to do it, and I finally got that handled. And that cost me, it was $375 labor, and it was $400 for the toilet itself. So that wasn't something that I wanted to do. There are things that I want to do on my own. There are things that are too heavy for me to lift, or that I haven't done before, I'm not comfortable with. And when it came to the toilet, they're supposedly easy, but lifting it and with my back, I didn't want to injure myself. So there was a local tech that I trusted, and I just called him and said, hey, can you do this for me? I'll pay you your fees, and went ahead and did it. And that was easy enough for me. So something that has to be maintained on a motorhome are the spark plugs. And it was recommended around 100,000 miles, and I'm at 94,000 miles. So I thought, well, why don't I just get it taken care of now? So I set up the appointment, and I went in. Now, they weren't ready for me. They did not have the parts, so I had to leave and come back. And then when I had it in the shop, they told me that it was going to be $1,600. Now, I had already dropped my motorhome off there. If I would have done my due diligence, I would have called more places to find out, because what I was told afterwards is I was overcharged. I don't know what it takes to replace spark plugs. That's not my area. I'm not a chassis expert. So for me, it was all brand new. And I should have asked some of my friends about what it cost to replace them, because I was told I was overcharged for the labor, that it shouldn't have taken that long. It doesn't take that long to replace them, but I was charged for a lot of labor time. It was only $300 for the parts, but yet $1,000 for the labor. I'm all for paying people when they actually do the work, and it does actually take them that amount of time. I don't know if that was a good price or not, but what I was told afterwards was that I overpaid. So next time, and if you're in the situation, please get different quotes from different people, and don't just go to the first place. I was in more of a hurry. I wanted it done while I was in a spot in Arizona, and I needed it done within that week. I pre-made the appointment a month prior, and they had done some work for me before, so I felt like I could trust them. But there were a few things that just didn't sit well with me while I was at this shop, and I probably won't go to them again because of it. because they weren't ready for me and I had to go out there twice. And I also had a broken shock, which I asked them to look at, and they never even looked at during that visit where they charged me all that money. And then I went to pick it up and it hadn't been looked at, and I found out I had a broken shock. Then they wanted to charge me another $1,000 to replace the two, not only the two front shocks, but the two rear shocks, when I asked them to only quote me for the two front shocks. So please be very, very careful when you're taking your RV to a mechanic that they actually quote you on what you asked them to do. And if they didn't, you need to find out why. Now, I got both front shocks replaced because if you're going to do one side, you should do the other. But I didn't necessarily need all four shocks replaced. So they were over quoting me and they didn't listen to what I had asked. So I won't be going back to them. But I ended up finding a mobile mechanic that actually fixed it for me and came to me, and I paid $600 and had both of them. And that was including his mobile fee. So I think that was a fair price. So I'm going to break down all the costs for each year that were for repairs and maintenance. Okay. So in 2021, I paid nothing because there were only a few months left in the year. In 2022, I paid about $300 and maybe $400 if you add in the oil change. For 2023, I paid $3,800. And then for 2024, I paid $5,467. So what you're looking at is an average of about $5,000 a year that I would estimate would be a good amount to have set aside for repairs. And do I think it was worth it? Yes. The reason why is that if I had a loan out for a newer RV, even if it doesn't even have to be brand new. If it was a really expensive RV that I could not pay cash for, that I had to finance, it doesn't matter what the year is, and I had to pay monthly on it, I would be spending so much more per month because I would be making the payment and I would have to make repairs. Now, you take into consideration warranties, yada, yada, but you're still going to have to pay for all the maintenance and everything that you're going to have to do to keep it upgraded. That's not under a warranty. You're still paying for that. And half the time, they don't even want to cover the warranty and they'll find an excuse not to. So it's still coming out of your pocket. So being able to get something free and clear without making a payment on it, and then just saving up the $5,000 a month on an average and having that set aside for those emergencies is well worth the freedom that I get to be able to be in this motorhome and not have a mortgage, not have a payment, not paying the interest to those people, and just living free and clear and enjoying my life. Also, if I was going to recommend anything, it would be try to learn one skill at least, so that you can maintain these things yourself. Even if you're only doing sealant work. If you can climb on a roof, you can do this. If you can learn 12 volt, you can maybe repair something small that's going on. You can replace something, like if a light goes bad, you can replace the light. Learn 12 volt. It's not that difficult. It's usually just 2 wires and you're not going to get electrocuted from it. The shock is not near what it is for a 120 volt. Learn how to do at least one thing to help save yourself some more money. And you will be so happy that you did, because it is absolutely 100% so gratifying that I have learned how to handle so much in my motorhome that I'm saving myself thousands of dollars a year. Thousands. The work that I did on this RV would have been another $1,000, and something always happens. There's always something that happens in my motorhome. And a lot of the stuff I can fix myself. The biggies I need to set aside, that approximately $5,000. It could be more. I don't know. Something terrible could happen. But on an average, what I've seen so far is having about $5,000 is helping me so that I can replace and repair the things that are just typical motorhome things that break. So I hope that you got something out of this video. You guys, thank you for tolerating my music in the last video. I just died laughing. I'm sorry, but it was hilarious to me. I got so many comments and you guys were just right out honest with me. The music sucks. The music's horrible. And I just laughed because I didn't realize it was that horrible. When I listen to it, I don't hear well, I think. I mean, I know I don't hear the best. when I'm listening and editing and playing in this music, I thought it sounded really nice to have it in the background. I'd heard somebody else, I was watching other YouTubers, always trying to get new ideas on how to be better. And I'd heard they played music in the background while they were talking. I thought, well, if it works for them, it should work for me. And I tried it, and then it was obviously too loud. So I am so sorry about that. Thank you for tolerating me, and I won't do it again. I will only do it in an intro, and that's it. Can you hear Izzy in the background? She's shaking. She wants my attention right now, and I'm about to give it to her. We're going to go and go outside. She's staring at me right now. Okay, you guys, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.